This is a tutorial to accompany the PowerPoint that's posted on our blog. So it's all about creating titles. You can, if you follow the PowerPoint, you can pretty much do that without watching this video, but if some people prefer watching the video. So most of you already know how to make a title, a basic title. You just go to Title, New Title, Default Still. And it's a good idea to get in the habit of naming your title. So if this is your opening title, you can call this opening title. Whatever you can do to describe what that content is good, because it's going to wind up over in this project panel, and that project panel starts to get crowded after a while. So you really want to be specific about your names. So I'm going to say OK, and when I do that, up comes this window. Now remember, you can turn on or turn off this eye right here. So if you're not going to overlay your title on a clip, you want to turn that eye off. Okay, so now you'll notice that you have all these tools available to you to create text. This smallest box in here is the viewable, safe viewing area for your title. So you really want to stay inside that viewing area. So if you want a title, you want to make sure that your text toolbar is selected, and then drag an area where you want that title. And here is my title. Okay, now if it disappears on you, I'm going to go up to the selection tool, and you just want to expand that box. Alright, so now I'm going to go back to my text tool, and I'm going to format this a little bit. I can center this. There are a couple ways to center it. I can click on it right there. And I can also center this up and down and sideways in my on the page. So I'm going to change that selection back to the selection tool and trim that box a little bit. And then I'm going to click on center here and center there, and now my title really is centered in my page. Now I still have lots and lots of other choices. I can change that text by selecting one of these. So I'm going to highlight all my text, and I'm going to change it to that, or this, or this, or I'm going to scroll through my list of all my different fonts. If I go up over here to Font Family, I can choose this, and then I can just start using my down arrow key to find the title that I want. Now remember, you want this title to be very readable by your audience, so that's kind of an important point. Alright, so now I'm staying with this font. I'm going to choose Rockwell. You can also change the color. So if you notice down here there's a color selector, I can click on that and then choose a different color, say OK, and now it changes the color. I can actually sample a color from the film. So if I click on the eyedropper, I can go up here and grab a color like that blue sky, and now my title is that color. Okay, so those are lots and lots of ways that you can change things already. If I want to change the font size, I can do it up here. I can actually just click on that number and drag my mouse down or up on the page to size that. I can do the same thing over here. So I'm going to click on font size, and I'm going to go down with the mouse or up with the mouse, and that changes my font size. Okay. There are many other things that you can do here. You can add texture. You can add different color. You can have a different kind of fill type. So there are many choices there for how you change the font. If I want to add a different background color, I can pick the rectangle, for example, and drag a box around this, and then go over to my color and change the color. I'm going to make this a garish yellow so that you get the point that I can change the color. So there is now my background. If I want to put that behind my text now, I just right click on it and go to Arrange, and I want to send that to the back. So you see my title comes forward then, and my background remains. once I've created my title, I can actually close that, and you'll see that it shows up in my project panel, and I can just drag that down into my timeline. I'm going to do a insert here at the beginning of this, so it shifts everything over and makes room for my title. I can make that as long or as short as I want, and so all I have to do is click and drag that, and so now my title is as long as I want it. Okay, and I don't want to make that too long. 4 or 5 seconds is about an average for a title at the opening. Alright, and that's basically how you do the opening kind of title when you put it alone, not as an overlay. If I want to overlay a title onto an existing clip, I just go to Title and New Title and Default Still, and I'm going to call this Edie, and I'm going to say OK, and I click on the eye, and here is my title. Now, there are lots of considerations when you create a title. The typical title is called a lower third, and so you're going to put a title for the name of a person in the lower third of the screen. You don't really want to put a title with her back next to her back. You would probably want to put it in this area. So the problem with that is that no matter where I put it, I'm going to have some light and some dark areas. So if I just click in here and I type something in, and I say Edie at Woodside, and I'm going to make that a little bit smaller now. Make it maybe that big. So if that's my title, you can see already how much trouble it is to read that. No matter where I put it, it's kind of not going to show up real well. That's not too bad, but even there, I have some problems in light and dark. So if you can find a place to put the title and it makes sense to put it there, that's really not where I want it. I really want it down in here. If you can find a place to put it, that's fine, but you want it to have consistency in your film too. So what I want to do then is I want to add a background behind that so that I don't have this problem. So I'm just going to push that title aside for a minute, and I'm going to grab a box over here, and I'm going to put a box right here. Alright, and I'm going to make it a different color. I want that to be contrasting, so I'm going to choose, I'm actually going to do my color chooser, and I'm going to get something green like that. Alright, so now I've got a contrast there, and I can take my title and put it there, and then remember I want to right click and send the background to the back, and then I want to center that inside. I want to center that whole background around the title. So now I've got my title, and that's all you have to do to create a name. Now when you are ready to place that, though, you want to close that. Once I have my title set, I'm ready to drag it into my timeline, but I don't want to drag it into video clip 1. I want to actually drag it into video track 2, because I'm overlaying that on top of the first one. So here's my title, Edie, and I'm going to drag this into video track 2. So that's at the beginning of it, and I actually don't want to start it right at the beginning. I want that title to go most of the way through the clip, so it's going to look something like this. Okay, and that's pretty good. Now, here's something that I didn't show on the PowerPoint. If you want to create a transition and have this fade in and fade out, you can go over to Video Transitions and go to Dissolve and go to Cross Dissolve and drag that icon right up to the beginning of the clip, and you'll see this Cross Dissolve comes up, and that looks like this. See how it fades in? And then you can actually fade out by doing the same thing. Drag the cross dissolve to the end of the clip, so you've got cross dissolve at the beginning and the end, so it looks something like this. Alright, so now you've got that sort of fade effect. That title's a little bit quick, but I think you get the idea about overlaying it in a separate track and using cross dissolve to fade in and fade out. Now, another thing that you can do to make a title is to actually make a title from a template. So you can just go up to Title, New Title, based on a template. And then there are all these choices of templates that you can choose from. I don't like the corporate run so much, but if you want to look at entertainment, for example, there's this art palette. So that's the full page. So they have full pages in the wide format, which is what we like. But there's also a lower third, so if you want to name somebody, you can put it down at the bottom like so. So for this, I'm going to look at lower thirds, and I'm going to find a lower third that I kind of like. These are all a little bit flashy for me. And let's take that one, and we're going to call this Edie template title, and say OK. And there's our lower third. And so now you can change this any way that you want. You can just type it in here, Edie Alright, so there is our formatted, pre-formatted title, and you can change the size, you can change anything you want in that formatted title. You can take something out of it. So if I wanted to take out that white or that end, I can do that. There's lots and lots of things that you can do to change these. Once you're done with it, you just close it, and then you overlay it again. And I'm going to put that in right up here. And remember that you can change that so it doesn't start right at the beginning of the clip. You can lengthen that. And then you can put a cross dissolve on it at the beginning and at the end. And so it might look something like this. Okay, again, a little bit short, but I think you get the idea that there are templates available that you can modify and choose from to do lots and lots of very cool titles.